Hello, today I'm going to make a video that covers 3 subjects in the one video, and all these subjects are joined by a common thread, and that common thread is soil. The first third of this video I'm going to dedicate to organic soil management. The second third of the video we're going to talk about crop rotation in a bucket, and the third and final part of this video we're going to talk about free range vermiculture. Okay, let me introduce you to the start of the show. This is one of my 10-inch water buckets that I grow vegetables in year after year after year after year, using the same soil year after year after year after year. And the reason I'm able to do that is because I reinvigorate the soil every autumn and winter with a covering of chop and drop, which usually comprises seaweed and leaves and some grass. So let's talk about organic soil management. Okay, so what we've got here is an organic chop and drop, right, sitting on top of soil. This soil about 6 months ago produced potatoes. Okay, the potatoes are long gone, but I put the soil back into this bucket. Okay, so we took the potatoes indoors, we've eaten those, the soil went straight back into the bucket, and the bucket went onto my rack. About 3 months ago, when the weather got colder and we were moving into autumn, that's when I went and collected this chop and drop. Autumn leaves and seaweed and winter composting. And that's the time to do it, because this soil is not going to grow anything now for about another 3 months. So that would be 9 months sitting in this bucket, 3 of them under this layer of chop and drop. Okay. There will be worms in this bucket, I fully expect that, but I haven't actually introduced any as such. Whatever's in there is in there because it wants to be in there. Okay, so that's us done on organic soil management. Organic chop and drop, garden soil, that's it. Okay, let's now talk about crop rotation in a bucket. So I've already told you this soil last year produced potatoes. When I plant this bucket up this year, if I grow carrots in this bucket, crop rotation in a bucket, surely. Potatoes followed by carrots. Would you agree? Have we cracked it? I think we have. Potatoes grew in this soil last year, carrots this year, maybe potatoes again next year, maybe beetroot, maybe leeks, who knows? That's got to be crop rotation, hasn't it? Okay. Now the best bit. Free range vermiculture, what's all that about? Okay. I'm betting that there's some worms in here. Although this bucket was filled with soil 6 months ago, any worms in there, had they wanted to, could have simply crawled out. There's no lid on this. There's holes in the bottom. That's got to constitute free range, hasn't it? Stay if you want, leave if you want. And the only way we're going to find out if there are any worms in here is to empty this bucket out. So we're going to do that now, and if there are any worms, we'll put them to one side and we'll just see what we've got in here. Okay, so I'll just take off this top layer of chop and drop. Now when I put that on, actually, it was well above the level of this bucket, of the rim of this bucket. And the wind and the rain, the winter winds and rains have pushed it down. And the worms that are in this bucket, if indeed there are any worms, they've been eating this all autumn and winter long and taking it down into that soil. Reinvigorating that soil, charging it up again organically for a new crop this year. So we'll remove this first and then we'll empty out the soil. Okay, time to get our hands dirty. We'll use this to store the worms. We are going to return them to this bucket if there are any in here. They want to be in here, otherwise, as I've said earlier, they would have just left. So they'll be quite happy in there. So I'm just emptying this out by way of a demonstration of what's going on here. And then it'll go back in there, as I've said earlier, and in 3 months' time we'll grow something in it. Now this soil really is wet, and it's wet because we've had lots of rain. I thought I got my first worm there. It's a small stick. Oh, here's one. And another. There you go, we've got our first 2 worms. Oh, I can see a couple now. But that python, that's a biggie. There's one. Oh, titchy one. Oh, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 earthworms. Okay. So we haven't actually bought any worms in here. These are just worms from the garden that want to be in this soil. If they didn't, they would vamoose, wouldn't they? Oh. Yeah, there's more. Crikey. That's a titchy one. There's one. It's quite cold, this soil, so these worms won't want to be doing much moving about. It's just that cold. Oh, there's one. Right. So we'll return these worms to the soil, and then we'll return the soil to the bucket. Okay, so what I've done, I've popped this piece of slate on top of the soil just so you can see these worms better. We'll pop them on the slate, and I'm fairly sure in short time they'll disappear into that soil. Okay, I'll let you watch a bit of that. We'll probably speed it up just in case these guys are a wee bit slow. few remaining worms here are quite sluggish, and that's because it's so cold out here. In fact, it's that cold Molly isn't even in the garden with me, and normally when I turn a bucket out she's there just to see if there's any potatoes or carrots, but it's even too cold for Molly to come outdoors today. So what we're going to do, we'll return these worms to the soil and we'll return the soil to the bucket. Okay. And I have one last message for you. There were no worms killed in the making of this video. Worms are the gardener's best friend. But here at Home Grown Veg, they're my second best friend, because as you know, my best friend is Molly, who's currently lying in front of the fire. And the worms that have gone back in here will probably be feeling a bit peckish now. So let's top this bucket off with something nice for them to eat. It's that chop and drop going back on. Oh, and I must mention, I think I may have done this on camera this year, I'm not too sure, but I've also added some coffee grounds. A wee sprinkling of coffee grounds on here, so I think we're still organic. I'm sure you'll tell me if we're not. Hey, that's it. 3 months time we'll discharge this into the barrow again, we'll thoroughly mix it, put it back in, and we'll grow something. How good is that? How good is that? Organic soil maintenance, crop rotation in a bucket, free range vermiculture. Hey, 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 Home Grown Veg. This is Home Grown Veg signing out.